Dear Browning students, I want to further make obvious the fact that your headmaster, John BOTTI, is a disgraceful coward who does not want you to learn the truth of the world. At the end of me speaking, I'm going to show you a video of a black woman who thoroughly explains how there exists no racism epidemic by whites against blacks in the police community. She's going to articulate logical reasons for this, and she's going to give you facts about it. She's a black woman. Now, she would be happy to talk at the Browning School about this, and believe me, Browning has so much money, many millions of dollars in their endowment and each year they get, that they could spend on luminaries such as this woman Candace Owens, who would probably charge, I don't know, $5,000, maybe $10,000, not even a drop in the bucket for Browning. The reason John BOTTI will not request this person come and speak to you kids is because he and his cohort of liars do not want you to know the truth about reality in America and about your communities. They want to keep lying to you. What other reason could they have to not ask Candace Owens to your school to speak? What other reason? Ask yourself that, and ask the teachers that. These are honest questions. In the Browning literature itself, it says, I'll paraphrase, at 10th grade or so, we want the children to start exploring the world outside of the Browning school. Paraphrase. So you can say to them, sir, following your guidance, I am exploring the world and I'd like your opinion. Can we have Candace Owens speak at the Browning school? What do you think they're going to do? Punish you? There's nothing wrong with that question. They don't want you to ask it. They will say, oh, well, we can't get her. She's too expensive. An utter lie. Utter lie. Why don't you research how much she charges? Even if she charged $100,000, which clearly she's not, these are drops in the bucket for the reservoir of Browning cash. They don't want you to know this because she goes against the false narrative of oppression pushed by the cultural communism community, by the cultural Marxist community of Browning. They are feeding you a lie. They are poisoning your head every day with a big poison syringe of lies going right into your head so you become a zombie. You can't tell the difference between truth and fiction anymore. You can't tell reality anymore. So you become one of their minions, one of their invasion of the body snatcher people who just go, oppression, equality, diversity, minorities are oppressed, white supremacy, and you just destroy your culture. This is what they're doing to you. The more you dig for yourself, the more you ask questions, the more you will see that this is true. Thus, it is correct to look at John BOTTI with contempt, with disgust. He is at best a robot for the trustees and the Parent-Teacher Association, which is also zombified, and at worst, he is a wanton minion of evil. Honestly, I expect he is the former. He's a coward. He's a coward. Now, if you see someone with coward, I am poisoning children because I am scared to do otherwise, are you going to respect that person who is not defending you and your culture? Be advised, this Browning community is poisoning you. They are poisoning you and they're destroying America. And as a result, what is fomenting in the minorities is hatred for white people, racism it's called, and fear and racism in white people against the minority. They are fomenting, breeding racism. That's what they're doing. And in a nutshell, all these people are called Democrats. These Democrats are not the Democrats in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. They're not. And they don't even realize it because they're so indoctrinated, they're so zombified, they can't tell that 2 plus 2 does not equal 7. They can't do it anymore. They think, oh, well, in the 1980s I voted Democrat, and Democrats are for the people. And they want equal rights, and the Republicans are rich people, and they're mean, and they hate black people. They're zombified. Do I look like I hate black people? I am a massive Trump supporter and a hardcore conservative, and I am not a card-carrying member of the Republican Party, but I basically support their views, and I almost always support the candidates that come out of the Republican Party. You gotta get this stuff under your belt, because there is a fierce war against good and evil, and you gotta appreciate the side of good. You gotta think for yourselves. Maybe I'm the side of evil. Maybe they're the side of good. You gotta figure that out for yourself, man. You gotta use instinct, logic, and history. Look at history, real history, not the history that Browning shoves down your throat. Real history from source texts. Good luck, and behold a black woman unpeeling the truth about these narratives.
Racially motivated police brutality is a myth. Okay, so let's get into that. Not only are we using this death, right, and allowing it to cause these riots and protests, pretending this was some upstanding citizen in the black community who was tackled down and killed for no reason, right? Not only are we allowing it to inspire riots in which black people are dying, in which actual upstanding black citizens are dying. Case in point, I'm sure you guys have all now seen David, the sheriff that just was shot and killed because he was trying to protect a pawn shop. Please look him up if you haven't seen it. I'm blanking on his last name. His first name is David, who was shot and killed for trying to protect a pawn shop from looters, an upstanding citizen, an actual head of a police. He was the head of a police his entire life, 77 years old, did everything right? So we now have to kill upstanding black citizens because a non-upstanding black citizen, a career black criminal, died. Now, did he deserve to die in that manner? No. I can't say it enough. No, he didn't deserve to die in that manner. But I will be damned if the rest of us upstanding black citizens have to suffer because of this incident that rarely ever happens in America. So here are some numbers for you people that are still believing that police brutality is a real, racially motivated police brutality is a real thing. First and foremost, okay, you have a 25% higher chance as a violent white criminal of dying at the hands of a police officer than you do as a black criminal. Last year, a total of 9 unarmed black men were killed by police officers, and 19 white men were killed by police officers. For those of you that aren't good at mathematics, right, you might be thinking, oh, but Candace, white people represent 60% of the population and black people represent just 13% of the population. It doesn't matter what percentage of the population you represent. It matters what percentage of the violent criminal community you represent. And unfortunately, black community commits a disproportionate amount of crimes compared to the white community. Let me tell you, 6% of the population, right? Black men, 6% of the population account for 44% of all murders in this country, according to 2018 statistics. That is what you call a gap. And yet white people who represent 60% of the population, we represent 13, black men are 6%, only represent 50% of all the murders, right? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. A 6-point variation in a community where we are extreme minorities. We commit 50% of all violent offenses, evenly split, and we're only 13% of the population, okay? So we have a lot more encounters with police officers. And don't say the police officers are coming around because we're black. I'm talking about violent criminals. I'm talking about murder, 44% of murders, okay? You want to talk about real statistics? The police officers have way more to be fearful of in the black community than the other way around, okay? We commit, on average, a police officer is 18 and a half times more likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. Okay, so this entire narrative is complete smoke and mirrors. It's all made up. It's just election fodder. It's white versus black because it's an election year, not because black Americans are suffering at the hands of police officers more than white Americans. Do some police officers do the wrong thing? Yes. I don't think there's anybody in the world who has not encountered a police officer and thought this person is an absolute jerk who is power tripping, whether you are black or white. We know they exist. And we know they're always going to exist, by the way, because they're human beings. And sometimes sometimes human beings suck. In fact, if you want to attack a community for accidental slayings or brutality, did you know that doctors accidentally kill 250,000 people every year because of mistakes? Did you know that there's been doctors that have been arrested for being serial killers that just were killing people because they wanted to? Do we protest and boycott doctors? Do we assume all doctors are horrible human beings because some doctors are? Or do we realize that society is not perfectible? People suck in every profession. It is no excuse to paint society with a broad brush. It is certainly no excuse to accept a Democrat narrative, okay, that black people are being disproportionately hunted down by police officers because of the color of their skin. You want to know the best way to avoid not being brutalized by a police officer is to limit the amount of encounters you need to have with them, especially when it comes to violent crimes. Okay? I am not going to stand for this continual bottom-feeding narrative of us martyring people that have had 5, 6, 7 stints in prison and then pretending they were upstanding heroes to our community. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Excuse my language. It's absolute bullshit, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to play pretend. I'm tired of sitting here and being called a coon or an Uncle Tom because I won't play this bottom-feeding game with you. If you want to hang up posters of criminals on your wall and talk about them as your martyrs, do it. Do it. You can do it. Kobe Bryant was my idol, okay? I'll keep a photo of Kobe Bryant. You can keep one of George Floyd and pretend he was an upstanding human being that just once or twice put a gun across a pregnant woman's belly. Could you imagine that woman right now? That black woman, by the way, right? Watching everybody pretend this person was an upstanding human being who just at the age of 42 and 5 prison stints was going to get his life together. I mean, it's embarrassing. We are embarrassing in that regard, right? This is why we have a cycle and a toxic culture, because nobody wants to tell the truth in Black America. It's so easy to be a victim. It's so easy to ask white people to bow down and apologize and do all these things for us. It's crap. It's crap. It's a lie. It's a farce. Our biggest problem is us, okay? It's why we don't talk about it when black on black crime happens. It's why we don't talk about it when 40 black people are killed in one weekend during Memorial Weekend in Chicago. We don't want to talk about any of that stuff. We don't want to talk about Baltimore. We don't want to talk about New Jersey. We don't want to talk about any of these places where black people are being slaughtered by other blacks, because that would mean that we had to be personally accountable, right? That would mean personal responsibility. We don't do personal responsibility in our community. We don't do it. We blame white people. Right? We only point a camera to white people when they do something, even though we do it at a way higher rate to ourselves, right? We celebrate our drug dealers. We're the only community, right, that would ever create hashtags to free people from prison because they committed crimes, like free Meek Mill, free this rapper, free this rapper. How hard is it to not spend multiple times in prison? How difficult is that? Is that too hard for us? Is that way too high of a mountain for us to scale, to do the right thing, to be upstanding citizens? That is the call to action that I have for Black America with Blexit. Like, why do we keep fulfilling this narrative? What do you think the perception of us, by the way, is on the outside? You ever look at the comments? You ever go into like an anonymous blog and see what people say? Oh, just black people being black people. I see those racist comments. Oh, just black people got to riot. Black people got to be black people. You know how they are. Oh, just black people being ignorant. That is the perception. When people get to be anonymous and talk about us, that's what they think about us, right? They think that we are the kind of people that will forever uphold criminals as the martyrs of our society, that we will never take account for the things that we do wrong, right? That we don't have it within us to educate ourselves to get ahead. And that for those of us that actually do it, well, we get called coons, right? You got Condoleezza Rice, she's a coon. Larry Elder, he's a coon. Dr. Ben Carson, brain surgeon, first ever to perform the surgery of splitting twins that are connected by the head. He's a coon, right? What a loser he is. What a stupid guy he is. Kanye West says he's not going to be told to do it because of the color of his skin. He's a coon. He's lost. He's in the sunken place. The sunken place. That's where we all are, right? Because we demand more and we will get more out of this society, because we're going to get ahead, right? That's what's going to happen. We're going to get ahead. Black conservatives get ahead because we don't subscribe to this narrative. Because you're not going to catch me outside trying to grab a TV pretending that it's because a martyr named George Floyd got killed. Okay? I'm a big believer that no matter what color you are, you do stupid things, you win stupid prizes. Okay? We have to do better. We have to teach our kids better, or we're not going to get ahead, right? Anyways, this is just a rant because I have been feeling super annoyed at these depictions in society. I have no apologies here to make. George Floyd is not my martyr. He can be yours. That's all I have to say to Black America.